So, yes, so after Amendment 1 passed last November by the voters, the law went into effect July 1st, which the law has basically two components to it, which is to require a 48-hour waiting period, by which an individual has to come in, has to hear a state-mandated, supposedly informed consent script from the doctor, which informed consent exists for every medical procedure that's ever done. So that has existed beforehand. There was a lot of erroneous information about that during the campaign for Amendment 1, because every medical procedure requires informed consent. So informed consent has always existed. Now we have a state-mandated informed consent, which has very little to do with actually informing patients about what the procedure is and all of that. That already exists. But it requires the doctor to say some information that actually, in many cases, doesn't apply to that individual. Okay, so, and then they must come back 48 hours later. Now, there are other states that have 48-hour waiting periods. They are not required that the physician has to give the informed consent as the initial informed consent. They can do it online, they can do it various other ways. So the state of Tennessee has found the most restrictive type of law to put into effect.
Sure. Well, to start, I mean, the origin of that law, comes from a place of legislators and different people coming together and saying, what's the best option for mom, and what's the best option for baby? And what's the best option for dad if he's involved? What's the best option for the family? I think sometimes pro-life folks get kind of pigeonholed into only caring about baby. And our pro-life stance, especially here at Hope Resource Center, doesn't stop at the womb. It continues outside of the womb. That mom matters to us, dad matters to us, the family matters to us. So the whole point of the ultrasound, I mean, science has given that to us. Years ago they gave us the ultrasound, they gave us a window to the womb. So what we know is then we can look inside and we can see what's inside of a woman. When Roe v. Wade was passed in the 70s, we had a lot of people going, well, I don't really know where I stand, because I know that a baby comes from pregnancy, but I don't know when that baby actually becomes baby or where it starts. And so what ultrasound allows us to do is to see, yes, we have a viable pregnancy, there's a baby there, and then go from there. So the whole point of the 48-hour waiting period, the main point is so that this female, this family, however they're going about it, so some people are saying that she just needs to talk to her doctor, or she needs to handle it with her partner or with her family, whatever that looks like. What it allows is it allows for her to say, this is a decision that will change my life forever. Because what we know is whether they choose life, they choose to terminate, or they choose adoption, their life will never be the same. So we don't want them to rush into that. We want them to have all the facts in front of them. So we want them to get an ultrasound, see the ultrasound, which is why here at Hope we have big flat screen TV so they can see the ultrasound clearly, and we give them pictures if they want them. And then they can take that 48-hour waiting period to truly decide what is best for the baby, what's best for them, what's best for the family situation. So really that's all the law wants to do is, and there's other states around the country that have done that. Some do 24 hours, some do 72 hours. Tennessee is doing the 48-hour. And all that is doing is saying this decision isn't something you should make flippantly. This is something that you need to truly think on and talk to family and seek counsel from different people. And so that's all the law is doing.
There's not a whole lot of positive things to say about the 48-hour waiting period, because it's rather paternalistic, and it's rather, its intentions are not really to inform patients and to impose a waiting time on people when women have already taken 48 hours, 72 hours, 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks to make the decision that seems to be right for them and their families. So for the state to require, where no other medical procedure requires an imposed state restriction on a waiting period, but they have picked out abortion as the only way, or the only reason for that to happen. it bypasses any kind of really ethical and concerning approach to medical care. So we have politicians making decisions about medical care, okay? And a 48-hour waiting period imposed presents enormous obstacles for women who have to require time off from work for 2 different visits, require perhaps childcare for 2 different visits, transportation costs. So it has in fact created a huge burden on women, both financially and emotionally, to make the arrangements to come in. Again, when they have already given it many times, much more than 48 hours, consideration in terms of the decision that they have made.